Hey everybody, Billy Ward here. Welcome to the Billy Ward podcast, getting ready for episode 5. And I'd like to introduce my good friend and colleague, Dr. Shannon. Shannon, welcome to the show.
Hey Billy, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great.
Thank you so much for being a part of this today and for spending some time with us.
Happy to.
Awesome. Let's kick off with just a little bit of gratitude. What are you most grateful for at this moment? Could be from anything from a small cup of tea to something bigger.
So I'm most grateful really for my kids and their health and my health. I think right now during this pandemic, that's just so apparent. And then the small things like my first sip of warm cup of coffee in the morning. It's literally my favorite thing, and I love it, and it just makes me feel so good.
Awesome, awesome. I'm right there with you. I love coffee. We were just talking before we went live. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your morning routine? What you do in the morning?
Oh my God. All right. Well, I start with a big glass of like room temperature water just to get my hydration. And then I do hot water and lemon. And it really, it's just like, it feels so good. It energizes me throughout the day. I feel like it sets a good tone for my stomach. And then I have my coffee and I'm just like so excited. The first sip really does change my life.
Awesome, awesome. You said you're a Keurig person earlier. Do you have a flavor? Are you hazelnut, dark magic?
I do like
French?
hazelnut, but I start my day with half calf because then I have another coffee late morning, and that is a totally different situation. Like I like an almond milk latte. So anyway, these are all very little
I'm
things.
really excited that you're giving us a chance to really get to know you. Can you tell me? I too also I wake up in the morning and before I have my coffee, I have a room temperature glass of water with a lemon. Can you connect the dots a little bit for our audience in terms of like what's behind that? Why do you do that, and where did it come
Yeah.
from?
So I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I think I've heard through multiple different sources, but for me, it sets the tone for the pH in my stomach. So I think our stomachs and everything that we eat throughout the day can lead to acidic environment, and lemon when you drink it, it makes a more basic environment. So I feel like it just starts me off on the right foot. It feels like a cleanse,
Yeah.
like I'm cleansing for the day and I'm ready to start, the new day filled with lots of yummy things.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I had a yoga teacher about 2 years ago share that morning methodology, and I jumped
Yeah.
on it. And I still sometimes can't get over how I feel when I drink that lemon water in the morning.
Totally.
It
I
just
mean,
it feels so cleansing, and it almost
mhm,
detoxes whatever was happening during the course of the night.
yeah,
And then I feel like I have, like you said, a baseline for a
yeah,
healthy environment for the rest of the day.
it's a fresh start.
I love that you're just sharing nuggets with our audience right away.
Little
Lemon
nugget.
water, coffee. So, Shan, what are some things that you're up to that are really important to you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I have put a lot of energy into healing myself, and I try to use that as fuel to try to heal others. And so right now I'm busier than ever, which I'm so grateful for. And working with clients in my private practice and really helping them learn how to manage themselves right now during this COVID crisis. And so that gives me a lot of meaning and purpose, and so I feel really good about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's one thing. There's many other things
I know you
I
are
could
you
go
are a
on.
good guest. There's probably a lot of different ways in which we can go. Maybe we'll just start off here in terms of,
Yeah.
one of the things that has really inspired me about you and has been a motivating factor just in terms of our relationship is this commitment that you've made to yourself.
Mhm.
And somebody who's out there as a psychologist and a business owner, and also motivating others to kind of take care of themselves. Why don't if we can, why don't we start with you?
Yeah.
Why do you take such good care of yourself? And maybe if you could share, similar to the lemon water, what are some things that you do during the course of like an average week to do just
Mhm.
that?
Well, I think, listen, we're all born into families, whether we like it or not. And I've got good, bad, and ugly, but I feel like I had a really good role model for taking care of yourself. My mom, is really good at doing that. And she was a yoga teacher when I was a teenager, like
Mm.
became a yoga teacher before yoga was even popular.
Hmm.
And I remember looking at her, and she was going through a divorce. My parents got divorced. And so I think she really turned to yoga to help her through that emotional kind of roller coaster. And I would look at her like stretching in the living room, like, what are you doing? That's so embarrassing. I'm like, please do not do that in front of my friends. Please. You know, um, and and then I went to college, and then yoga started to get kind of cool. So I was like, hey mom, like, can you come do yoga? And I went to Brown, so I had her come to Brown and do a yoga class. My friends were like, your mom teaches yoga? That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And so then I was like, all right. And then then I started to do yoga when I was feeling kind of down or emotional, or all the ups and downs of life. And so I think that kind of started me at a base level of, like, I basically, I mean, the way I live my life is I think and I believe that I have things to offer, and that I was born into this family with this body, with this mind, and that my purpose is to share that, to be able to find my light and then shine it on others. And so that just always has driven me. And I just know that if I don't take care of myself, none of that stuff can happen.
Mm.
And then I feel like I'd let myself down. And the feeling of letting myself down, I think, is more scary than anything to me.
Mm. Can you talk a little bit about that idea of just slowing down and connecting? From what I hear you saying, it's like you're taking care of yourself because it helps you connect to your light.
To my light, and to be able to be the best mom that I could be to my two boys, to be able to be a good psychologist and therapist, to be able to try to be a healer and a meditation teacher. I wouldn't feel right about sharing practices that I don't take. Like I want to walk the talk. So if I tell my clients, it's so important to take care of yourself, so important to meditate. Like, if I'm not doing that, I don't think that that's right. Like,
You're
I
the
want
kind
to
of
walk the talk.
therapist that I want to see.
Yeah.
Like I want to talk to
Yeah.
somebody who's actually walking along this journey with me, and not kind of above me, like, hey, this is what works, or this
Yeah.
is what you should do.
Right.
So what are
Yeah.
some of the things you mentioned? Yoga and
Mhm.
meditation. What are some things that you do on a weekly basis to take care of yourself?
Yeah, so it's interesting. In my younger life, it was all like physical, like yoga and working out. And I used to teach like cardio kickboxing, and I played soccer and tennis and loved sports and always loved just being outside and being physical. And uh, but I think I got myself into a little bit of a tizzy. I did too much on well-being. And so as I've, gotten older, and I guess maybe a little wiser, maybe not, but just trying to, like, I hit a point in my life where I felt like, oh, I got to really take care of my mental well-being as well,
Mm.
just as much as my physical. And so meditation for me has been such a game changer. So I've always had that physical part, and I love it. And I exercise. I do yoga and bar method. I love going for walks. I love just being outside playing with my kids. So I like that stuff. And what was a huge game changer for me was when I did start to meditate. And when I felt like I was a working mom, two young kids. And I'll get into my story, but at the time my husband was traveling all the time and really not around. And I just wasn't feeling like I was getting out of life what I wanted. And I know,
Mm.
you have this one life, and I always think like, I just want to always get the best out of it, like squeeze all the juice out of it. And I wasn't feeling that way. And when I was at work, I was thinking about my kids. And when I was with my kids, I was thinking about work, and I couldn't fully be present. And so my friend said, you should really try meditation. And having been in the yoga world, you'd think that I would have done it a lot, but I avoided it on purpose because my mind felt like, so like busy. And I'm very much, I like to be productive. I like to get stuff done. Am I allowed to swear? I
You
don't know.
are.
That's
You
not
are.
acceptable here.
Yeah.
I like to get shit done.
Cool.
Um, so, so the idea of sitting with myself and like maybe like thinking about doing the dishes in the dishwasher versus just doing them, I'd rather just do them. So for me, meditation was like, well, I'm just gonna sit there and do nothing. Like that seems so unproductive. But the reality was, oh my God, was I wrong? Like the first time I meditated, I felt like I could really just unplug from certain things in my life, like untangle from them. And it created more space to be more effective and efficient at what I was doing when I was doing it. So it really was a game changer for me.
Wow, that's like a really important thing I think you just said. One, I want to also um, respond to this idea that I think for a lot of people, our commitment to ourselves starts off being very physical, especially for us guys. I was with a good friend in a yoga studio, and he turned to me on his mat and he said, "Are you doing all this breathing shit in here? I'm just focusing on the poses." And I was like, "Dude, this is really about breathing. A big part of the yoga practice." And I'm so glad that that was your introduction to meditation. And really, from what I hear you saying, Shan, is this idea that you're really committed to the inner journey of kind of like what's going on. And you've used meditation as a place to create space so that you can keep your attention on the moment. And your results have been to be kind of more effective in everything that you've done as a mom, as a meditation expert, just as a human being.
I think it helps me just live more intentionally. I think before I was just like, okay, I do that. I just was so busy, but it wasn't like, this is what I want to be doing now. And this is what I want to be doing now. It's more like just being pulled by life.
Yeah.
And now having the time and the space, I'm like, okay, I want to do this and I don't want to do this. And this is what matters to me. And this is not what matters to me. So really kind of focusing on the things that matter and the things that I want to do.
And even that awareness of you being able to ask yourself in a moment, what really matters to me? Like how many people slow down enough to say, hey, what am I doing and why am I doing it and what are the results? Coupled with this idea that, hey, if I don't like the results or if I'm feeling chaotic and busy all the time, there's an opportunity for us to create a change.
So meditation for me, okay, yeah, meditation for me, I think like it was so helpful. Like I said, I hit that point in my life, but I really didn't know how much I was going to need meditation. So I had a foundation of meditation for a bit. And then suddenly my husband died in our house, unexpectedly at the age of 38. And we had two young boys, ages 3 and 5 at the time. And it was the hardest thing and continues to be the hardest thing I've had to, manage and deal with on all the different levels. And I think it's really meditation that's saved me through it. That there's a reason meditation came into my life. It was a gift that was given to me before all this happened, so that I could navigate and try, at least. I mean, I fail all the time, every day, but I try. But most of the time, I try. I really try hard not to, and I just do my best, and I feel like I can rest my head easy at night, knowing that I've been intentional and tried to do my best.
I appreciate you being so vulnerable and open in terms of sharing your story with us. And I feel like the first thing that comes out of that, your honesty is like a breath of fresh air, because I think people might watch this or see you and, hey, Shannon's, she's a doctor. She's very pretty. She's smart. She went to Brown. She does yoga. It's easy for you to take care of yourself. And then you share this story of abruptly losing your husband, and still being able to move forward in a way that says, well, this is what is, and I'm going to continue to try to live life in a way that makes me feel good about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Shannon, I think a lot of people want to ask right now, like, how are you doing that? Like, despite all the things that you've faced, where does this resilience come from?
Ugh, I mean, it's hard, and I have good days and bad days. I think, I think there's certain like my dad's like, you were just like born with a little sunshine inside of you. And like, I think that's sort of been my mentality my whole life is this, feeling optimistic and figuring out ways of being. And I think I just know I've done a lot of work on myself. And I know the ingredients that I need in my life to be able to survive and thrive. And I think I am privileged enough to be able to put those things in place so that I can do this. So and most of it is self-care. It's meditation, it's nature, it's yoga, it's exercise, it's friends, relationships, having fun, laughing, not taking things too seriously. It's the support and love of my family. So all of that.
Awesome. So what does this little ray of sunshine do when she's having a bad day? What do you do for those people out there that, hey, listen,
Yeah.
I'm having a shitty morning. I've got an ingredients that I follow. For our
Yeah.
audience, what do you do when you're having a bad day, when you don't feel like getting out of bed or doing yoga or drinking lemon water or meditating and you're like, fuck everything,
I have those days. Oh yeah, I have those days. So I'll tell you what I've been trying to do recently. This is not what I've done my whole life because I'm evolving and committed to self growth. But I'm trying to allow myself to feel the feelings. I think before I was like, well, let me just get busy. Maybe I won't feel this way if I like, do this and that and bounce around. And so, before in my younger years, I was all distraction. Just get distracted, just get busy, you'll be fine. And now it's like, okay, just feel it and allow it. And I think like, if you want to have a meaningful life, that means feeling all the feelings, good, bad, ugly. And so I'm trying to just like sit with it instead of run from it. And then I will usually call a friend or a family member to vent. And then I'll try to get outside. I try not to put high expectations of myself on days that I don't feel well.
Hmm.
So I don't, I try not to be like, well, you need to do this and this and this. I'm just kind of allow myself to do what is necessary. And then, a big part of my meditation practice is learning how to be compassionate with myself. And so if I can take a step back and be like, Jesus, you've been through a lot, like, and sometimes I'll have friends or family that'll help me with that a little bit. Like, hey, of course you're feeling this way. Like it'd be weird if you didn't.
Hmm.
Um, so just kind of trying to get some perspective on things. Um,
So for our audience, what I hear you saying, the first thing you do is just acknowledge what you're feeling and recognize that
I'm having a
sometimes
shitty day
it's
or having a
okay not to
shitty
be
day.
okay.
Yeah, like, ugh, yeah, this sucks right now. This really sucks,
How long, let me ask you, Shan, how long do you allow yourself to stay in that if it sucks?
I really don't like staying in it. I usually avoid at all costs. I see the way I see it, and the Tao Te Ching like describes this so perfectly. Is that it's just like a storm, right? Like it comes in, it can be fierce, it can be mild. It's just what it is, but it never lasts forever.
Hmm.
So it will pass. So in my mind I know like this sucks right now, but like I know myself and this is not how I'm going to feel in a couple of days.
Hmm.
So it depends on what is kind of going on for me. And sometimes it'll take an hour or two, sometimes it'll take a couple days, but
Yeah.
it never really lasts longer than a week for me.
Cool. I like that idea of the imagery of a storm and knowing that it's going to pass. Although sometimes I feel like I have the flu if I'm having a tough morning. And like when you have the flu, you're like, I don't know if this is ever going to change or if I'm ever going to get over this.
Yeah.
So for our audience, one, you're open to the whole spectrum of human emotion. You allow yourself to feel it, but then also part of those ingredients are getting outside, getting moving, but then also reaching out to a friend or a family member just to kind of bounce things off and maybe to get some of that stuff you're holding on to kind of and bounce it off somebody you respect and love.
Exactly. That's it. Yep.
Shannon, I can't thank you enough for being here today. You are an awesome guest. I would certainly love to have you back on. You have so much to share and
Anytime.
so much wisdom and
Anytime.
grace. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
To,
absolutely.
to our audience out there, thank you guys for being with us. Episode number 5, much peace and love. Be good until next time. Take care.